It's the best of 2023 episode with me, Babs.
And Fran.
We have picked our top 10 songs of the year according to categories that we have predetermined to give it somewhat of a structure, as we did last year.
And we have some interesting surprise picks. We have some, that again. And we are discussing what songs we like to feature others and just creating a nice vibe for 2023, really.
Nice vibe, indeed. There are some return acts for both of us this year, and one act on there twice in the same category. You'll have to wait and see.
We will have a Spotify playlist for you to listen to these songs before we chat so that you have a clue of what we're discussing. And please wait to the end as we have an important message.
Welcome to the Over Underrated podcast with Fran and Babs. Is it over or underrated?
Ho, 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 and welcome to the Christmas/end of year special from Over Underrated. I am Babs, and I'm here with my co-host, Fran. How are you doing, Fran?
It's early, guys. It
is early.
First morning record for a long, long time.
And it's just the two of us. There's no one in another time zone to have an excuse, but we are busy bees, and we really wanted to get a best of 2023 episode to you. So here we are.
We both haven't dressed in anything Christmas, unfortunately.
So I have put on makeup.
Okay.
As in, I've like brushed my hair and put on makeup to be like, right, let's, make an event of this kind of thing.
And I had a shower because, I don't want
I did not
think I stink.
I did not. That is going to come after I go and do some shopping in the madness of the Saturday before Christmas, because we are recording this at 10 and 11 a.m. respectively on Saturday, the 23rd of December. What music you've been listening to?
Yeah, it's hard to know. What music have I been listening to, which we're not going to be discussing?
I've got some, if you like. Well, I can tell you what music I've been listening to that kind of came after I'd compiled this list, and I discovered too recently, I feel, to do it. So I have been listening to a band called Water From Your Eyes. Have you heard of them?
No.
Water From Your Eyes. I think it was on the Guardian Top 50 albums. They have an album called Everyone's Crushed, and it's weird kind of art rock, art pop. I would say it's this year's jockstrap for me. It's work to listen to the album, but I really enjoy it. And the other album that I've discovered kind of just now is from a Brooklyn band called Model Actriz. I'm saying it in a kind of Portuguese Spanish way, which I think just means model actress. And they have an album called Dog's Body, which I think is worth checking out as well. But too late for this list.
I guess I could mention some songs on my best of 2023 top 50, which I won't be mentioning today. I quite like 86 TVs, which is the Maccabee brothers. The Whites from the Maccabees have created a new band, and I love the single Worn Out Buildings, which is in my top 20 songs of the year. And I sort of mentioned that I have really liked Christine and the Queen's album this year.
Yes. Did we mention that I saw them live?
Yes.
Long album.
Yeah. That's the issue with it. I was trying to make my top 5 albums of the year, and I was like, I'm sorry, Christine, but if you edit this back to maybe 10. But I can't. There's too much. Albert August from Sweden is a good new artist I've discovered. So there you go. That's a couple of shout outs.
There we go. And look at us talking about albums when all we do normally is listen to music. I think I could do a top 5 albums, but top 10 albums. If I made that list, there would be some albums where I'm like, I've listened to this through twice. Because
let's announce. Let's do it. Let's do our top 5 albums.
Okay.
I did mine. Yes, I did mine this week, and I struggled to get 5.
Right. So, in no particular order, Bobby by Pip Blom, With a Hammer by AIG, Trip 9 Love by Tirza, For That Beautiful Feeling, Chemical Brothers, and for the last one, Venom by Wargasm. There we go.
Boom. I have 6 on my list, so I need to quickly delete
Edit.
one. I would delete Olivia Rodrigo because she's got enough.
She's got enough fans.
Chat. Yeah. Cracker Island by the Gorillas. Young Father's Heavy. Bombay Bottle Club is on there. Spectre is on there, and for National. But I've chosen
which one?
2 Pages of Frankenstein. I think is the better of the 2. But again, like, why? If they made one album, it'd be a perfect album. But both National guys.
As in, you think they should have reduced the two albums down to one?
I think I like 7 off 2 pages and I like 6 off last laughers or something. So that's yes, they could have had a perfect 13-track album, but
Get Fran on the case. He said it. Well, although I'm sure we know some rabid national fans who'd be like, "No, double the albums, please, keep them coming."
But yeah, but not the greatest. I wouldn't declare any albums as like a 10 out of 10 must buy. Maybe me, but yeah, I've struggled with music this year to find anything that's really excited me. I just like a lot of stuff.
I think with me, 10 out of 10. I mean, that's strong. I would maybe agree, but at the same time, I feel like I haven't given any album the space to become a 10 out of 10 album, if that makes sense, because I think it's very rare when I think of my favorite albums of all time, and we've done the exercise with the Naughties albums. Was any album a 10 out of 10 immediately? No, it was on repeated listenings. So even, for example, Bobby by Pit Blom, which I think is really a return to form, I can't remember all the songs off it yet, because I've listened to it enough times to have my favorites that I keep going back to. And I enjoy it as a whole, but I don't know it well enough yet. And I think it's just going to continue like this, isn't it, with our attention spans?
But I do like this exercise. It's nice to be forced.
I love this exercise.
Into looking back through the months.
I mean, and you take it to the next level as well, because you do a top 50.
And not only do I do a top 50, I have a top 100 first, and then I narrow it down to 50.
Oh, wow. When you start doing this exercise, you start asking people for recommendations, right? Like, you don't make it from the songs that you've already saved initially.
It was songs I liked, it was people's recommendations, and it was like playlists I found on Spotify, like, you know, Name A, Music Magazine's best songs so far, etc. And then I'm quite sad because yeah, who have been a faithful playlist, have stopped doing playlists since last year.
Oh no, not yeah.
My Scandinavia music has vanished. How dare they? So I only found a couple of Scandinavian songs this year.
There are Nordic picks on this list, yeah.
Looking at my top 50, that I saw I had 13 different countries for Saint Bad.
That's really good.
So it's been quite an interesting mix, to be fair.
Yeah.
Not a lot of rock and roll, as usual. But maybe that's just the music climate we live in. There isn't much rock and roll anymore.
Yeah, I think my list is definitely a bit rockier than yours. Yours is, let's say, Cynthia. Yours is Cynthia, mine is a bit rockier. But even mine, like, it's not 100% rock either. From my side, I did a similar approach, but not totally to last year, where I always start by going through what songs have I saved in 2023. I make a long list. But for one of the categories, I'll tell you which one, it was so hard to find someone that I was like, okay, I'm just going to have to already start going through some best of lists to find someone for this category. And that's how I discovered actually both Water From Your Eyes and Model Actrice. And yeah, my long list is only 41 songs. So in terms of, like, you know, songs that came out this year, really, you know, from 41 different artists, I was surprised that it was kind of so low. I think last year my long list was a bit longer. So if I made a top 100 or top 50, I'd really have to make an exercise out of it like you do. And I would say that I excluded Eurovision songs, despite, you know, easily Cha 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 by Carrier or Promised by Voyager could have made the top 10. I saw Carrier made your top 20, right?
Yeah, and I was going to include him today, but obviously, because we discussed him already, I thought I'd choose a different artist.
Over underrated.
And let's move on to our list. Are you going to introduce how we've done this, Babs? Or
happy to. So we have gone with the categories as we did last year. So we have 10 categories. It is best solo song, best group song, a song that you like that's in a different genre to what you normally like, best song not in English, best collaboration, best sync track, best song to hear live, best new artist 2023, best rock, and finally best track outside of Europe. But to make things fun, to whip it up, I have opened a random number generator. So we're going to go not in that order. Also, I think Fran might know which of my songs relate to which category, but I don't know which of Fran's songs relate to which category. So that will also be a bit of fun. So let's go random number generator, and we have number 9, which is best rock song. Fran, do you want to go first, or should I?
Okay. So my best rock song for 2023 is Be Your Own Pet with Worship the Whip, 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 Whip. And this is the band I completely forgot about until this year when I was standing in a field in North London going to see the Strokes at All Points East. And then it turns out that Be Your Own Pet were one of the support bands I didn't know about. And they were on at 4 p.m. early doors. And then I quickly had a Google and thought, oh yeah, I think I remember like a couple of their songs from the mid-noughties. Then I found out they had literally just got back together after they'd been apart for 15 years, I think it was. I think one reason was that was it sexism in the industry.
Sexism, and also they were very, very young. They were like 16, 17 when they were touring around.
Blimey.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, they're back. And then there may be a few hundred people watching them and they put on a great show. And I thought, actually, I will check them out when I get home. And I listened to a new album. I think, is it called Mummy or Mama?
Mummy, yeah.
And one song stood out, which was Worship the Whip, which I've had on repeat since last August. And it's what they say is a banger, I believe. It just instantly hits you. It's got this like chainsaw guitars. It's got this echoey whip, 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 whip sound, which is infectious. I love how she keeps singing "Lick It Up, Baby," "Lick It Good," which reminds me of Heather's "Lick It Up, Heather." Lick it. I don't know if that's on purpose. But yeah, I just have visions of me dancing around, being pegged, listening to this banger, and unfortunately, that wasn't happening at 4 p.m. Afternoon in
And
August.
it's not happening at 10:30 a.m. either.
No, but if I saw them again, at 10 p.m. in a dirty club, I'm sure it would be amazing. So yeah, I put it down. Worship the Whip by Be Your Own Pet. What are your thoughts?
So funny you should say that, Fran, because they might be coming back again. But for now, yeah, I absolutely adored Be Your Own Pet's debut album. It was one of my top noughties albums when we did the list. I think it's one of those perfect albums beginning to end. I was lucky enough to see them live at Reading 2006 in one of the smaller stages, and it was immense. I mean, Jemima is a great front woman. Her vocals are so unpredictable. You never know which timbre pitch she's going to next, and it's very, very exciting, the energy. I was reading about how at one concert it was so intense that she threw up mid-set and then just came back and finished it, which is like good for you. And yeah, it was great to read about them because yeah, I did know this album because when I saw that they had a first album out in 15 years, I went to listen to it, and like I said, they may be coming back. And it's really interesting, the sound evolution, because it's a lot more polished than it was before. And when I saw that you'd chosen this song, I was like, oh yeah, like let me go and listen to it again. And when I listened to it, I was like, oh, I really like the repetitive whip, whip, whip. But maybe it's a bit too polished. But then I went to see them playing it live. I saw there's a video of them playing it live at Rough Trade East. And she's back. Like, she's back with those vocals. It's a bit more guitar solo-y as well. So I was like, oh yeah, no, I would really, really love to go and see this live. And yeah, I think the album, the Mummy album, is really good. Although it's one of those, again, because I got stuck on another song, I haven't listened to it in full as many times as I would like.
So yeah, it's interesting to rediscover them. It's interesting that they are probably the best rock track I've heard. This means that they're better than the Hives, they're better than the Foo Fighters. Who knew?
Who knew, indeed.
So what's your next pick?
So my best rock track is Tiger by Pip Blom. And I got so obsessed with this song that not only has I have Tidal, it gives me my top songs of the year. It is number 2 on my 2023 list and number 2 of my all-time favorite list. So I've listened to this song a lot. So with Pip Blom, we've talked about them before a few times. I really, really loved their Paycheck EP, which came out in 2018. But since then, I felt that their albums have been a bit hit and miss. But then when this song came out, I thought, whoa, like this is a totally different direction. This is how a rock band should incorporate and embrace electronica. I love the twinkly synth and the bass synth that's there as well. The electric guitar, and the voices too. Like, she shifts from very low to very high and coquettish. There's some harmonizing where the voices sound quite distant, but then there's harmonizing where it's kind of like one of the men in her band singing with her. Sounds fantastic. And she herself says, it's my favorite song of the album, quite different to what we've done before. I don't want to sound arrogant. I find these things quite difficult to say about my own tracks, but it's quite a new one. And I agree. And I saw that it was produced by Dave McCracken, who's produced Deus, and he's played I think keyboards on Depeche Mode's Playing the Tiger album.
Okay.
So some good credits there. But really, honestly, this song and another one they put out from their album, Bobby, Kiss Me by the Candlelight, with Personal Trainer, who have been on this podcast before, who she is dating, the singer of Personal Trainer. So there we go. It all comes together. Yeah, to sum up, really, it is like, this is how a traditional indie band embraces electronica to make their sound even better, in my opinion. Although the video is very strange.
So yeah, I didn't really nuts about Peplum. I put down it's Trinkly and then Dirty as Fuck. It's got a very cool vocal line, and I thought she sounded Australian. I had to double check, and oh no, she's not Australian at all.
No.
I put down that if you dream about somebody, I dream about Jenna Connelly circa the late 90s.
Requiem for a Dream, though.
That was a hard. That's a hard film. I'm in two minds over that. I would add another element to it. I think that it has kind of like the verse chorus, but maybe it could have something else to make it.
You want a bridge?
Yeah, or something. It gets a bit stale after a few minutes. For me personally, I've heard it 4 times. I felt like it could have something else. But then I noticed everyone was saying that this is quite a different change of direction for the band, and I listened to a couple of songs on Spotify, and yeah, it is kind of different, isn't it? I get to a bit more of a straightforward indie band maybe before this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the album this kind of sound? Is it more electro?
So it is more electro. It's a bit of both, really. I really recommend listening to Kissing by the Candlelight, because the voice of the guy from Personal Trainer is sexy, but that's not why. But it contrasts so nicely with her voice, and it's a bit more restrained as well, because it's a love song, but it has more synths and more percussions. And I've seen them, I think, on the usual 3 voor 12 or whatever it is, Dutch radio that often has live videos. And they seem to have a lot more machines rather than instruments. So yeah, I saw them live supporting Garbage in 2019, I want to say, and they were a great rock band. But it was really like 4-piece, guitar, bass, drums, etc. I would really love to see them live now with this new setup, to see if they're better live also.
But yeah, no, this is a decent track, and thank you for including it. So let's hit the random generator.
Number 6, sync track. What's your favorite sync track of the year?
Okay, so we are going to be going to eFootball 2023. Any fans out there?
Never heard of it.
It is called PES Pro Evolution.
I've heard of PES.
It rebranded, and that's a whole podcast. But one of the good things about eFootball is that they always do have quite decent tracks on there. Like they had Group Love last year, and yeah, so this year they got Gaz Coombs.
That is not what I was expecting you to say at all. At all. And
interesting enough is that I didn't know it's Gaz Coombs until maybe a few listens, because this is kind of different. I mean, I've dabbled with Solo Queer since he left Supergrass, but I've never really loved it. To be fair, I don't think I've really liked Supergrass since the 90s. I think they kind of diminished as they went along, sadly. But yeah, this is very unlike anything I've heard before. His vocal is low relative, and he has like a sweet high vocal for the chorus. It's kind of psychedelic. It's kind of dirty. And the verse sort of like sounds a bit like The Thrills. It's a bit gallopy and strummy, and then goes quite nasty for the chorus. And then after maybe 6 or 7, obviously I'm playing the game quite often, so it comes on a lot. And then after maybe
weird song, to be honest,
6 or 7 times, I thought I actually really, really love this. And yeah, so I have Gaz Coombs, Love is Strange. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that it kind of makes sense, actually, for me, my listening, that this is your favorite sync track, because this is the one where I really needed some repeated listenings to get into it. And of course, I have to say that Chris Ollie will be happy that you've picked this, obviously, because he picked Gaz Coombs as an underrated artist. So on the first listen, I didn't feel anything in particular, right? I just, it wasn't moving me, but I didn't hate it. I was just like, okay, this is a song. Until it got to the guitar solo bit, and I was like, oh, hang on, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. The change when it goes from the chorus into the first more minimal verse was so dramatic. On the second listen, I was like, okay, no, hang on, there's a whole journey going on here that I have to kind of pay attention to. And by the third listen, I was like in the universe. And once I knew to listen out to the Long Live the Strange, I almost looked forward to it. Like that was the
Mm.
main, let's say, punchline, and everything else was kind of decoration. But yeah, I enjoyed the sheer amount of instruments, harmonies, the variations between louder and quieter. But I really needed some concentration and some time to get into this. It was not immediate in the slightest.
Which is interesting because obviously I think if I was doing my Spotify playlist, I may have not liked this. I think because I've heard it so many times is why it works. And that doesn't really happen. That's one of the good things about, I guess, sync tracks.
Yeah.
Is that you do hear them again and again and again. And I think this song needs that. So I probably missed so many songs this year just by, giving them maybe one or two tries and then dismissing them.
Exactly. Like I think you need to listen to them again and again, or you need to watch it with a visual for it to make sense.
Did you see the video for this?
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it because it's one of those where you start watching it and you're like, okay, I get the concept because he's just in a world surrounded by mannequins. Everyone is a mannequin, even though there's actions, they're driving and things like that.
Shout out to Aha, Sun on Time TV.
There we go. Of course, we always have to shout Aha when it's relevant. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and he looks good with eyeliner.
Yeah, I was going to say that. He's back onto the old island. Which is why not?
So should all men. So should all men. That's my opinion.
He's a stylish guy, or Gaz. So what's your pick?
So my pick is Oliver Coates' One Without, which is from the After Sun soundtrack. Now, I know, Fran, what you think of the After Sun film. It made me laugh, your comment. But yeah, this song, oh my gosh, that film, like I adore that film. Definitely one of my films of 2023. It might have come out in 2022, but I think it only came out in Belgium in 2023. The soundtrack came out in 2023 anyway, so this is the second trickiest category always for me to do because I'm not really like you. I do pay attention to songs in films and TV, but very often they're not from 2023. They're not from the year that you're listening.
I thought you'd put a Barbie song.
Well, again, I didn't want to because we discussed them. I could have put Speed Drive by Charlie XCX.
Okay.
That would have been the more logical one. But yeah, been there, done that. But Oliver Coates, yeah, I have seen him live. He supported Tom York. And I think he's called like the hidden member of Radiohead a little bit because he does contribute. And this song, oh my God, like I thought it was played over and over again, but actually when reading about it, it was like, no, it's only played like at the end and over the credits. But the way that film uses music is so powerful because it flips between very nostalgic music from the late 90s. I am basically the age that the child is in the film at the time. So for me, like it rings true. But then you have this incredible echoey strings from Oliver Coates. He's a cellist. They stir me so much. I can't hear this without getting melancholy about Paul Mescal and his kids. And of course, we have to talk about the incredibly claustrophobic version of Under Pressure that's used in the film, which really makes you really evaluate such a kind of chirpy song in a different way. So yeah, I picked this song specifically because it really evokes a lot of emotion in me because I'm just immediately back in the film. But it does represent kind of, for me, the film soundtrack as a whole. And the film, which really, really moved me.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because I guess I'm thinking more song-wise, and obviously this, as a piece of music, is by itself is kind of, I guess, it's just two sort of sounds, isn't it? It's like, yeah, it's beautiful when used with the right images. By itself, I guess it could be almost spa music for me.
Yeah, no, but I hear that.
And yeah, it's obviously just the same kind of like motif going around and around, which works for visuals. But I guess for you, this represents the entire film, anything around it.
It does. I mean, even he himself says this particular song is meant to induce the vivid glow of memory.
Yeah, I think it's one of the films when I went in after reading such glowing reviews, and I was just going, okay, there's some sun cream, there's some sadness, he's dancing. Oh, okay.
Do you know what? I went in, I think, knowing that you didn't like it and knowing that my friend Eva didn't like it. But I was like, it's Paul Mescal. Gotta go and watch Paul Mescal. When I watched it, it was a film that slowly got its grip on me. I have to say, like, I was watching it and I was like, also like, okay, I get it. Yes, there's a video camera. She's filming it, of how very nostalgic. And then you're watching the interspersed scenes with them in the nightclub rave. But the way that it comes together at the end, where she's trying to save him with the Under Pressure music, I was like, ugh. And I cried at the end. Like I was really by the end, I was in tears, not expecting to. I thought I would like it, but I didn't think I would like it that much. And I think sometimes having lower expectations definitely helps.
Maybe Christmas Day I'll pop it on.
Yeah, perfect. While you're at your dad's.
Yeah. Don't die, Dad. Anyway,
Yeah, don't die, dad either.
Over underrated.
let's you put on the random generator.
The random generator has gone to number 5, best collaboration.
So I have chosen Jay Wolf. First time I mentioned them on the podcast, with Banks, another person I don't think I've ever mentioned before. And the song is called Don't Look Down, I believe. And yeah, I have always seen the name Banks around. I don't think I knew one song by Banks, and I had never heard of Mr. Wolf. It turns out he is a Bangladeshi producer.
Mm-hmm.
I think Skrillex helped him when he heard a demo, and I believe he plays DJ sets in America and it's quite popular.
Yeah, I think he's Bangladeshi American. So yeah.
But yeah, I had not heard one thing, but when we go on like YouTube, no one even bothers mentioning J Wolf. It's just all about Banks, and yeah, it's definitely it's a collaboration. I don't know who did what part. I would say that it is quite a typical modern pop song. This could be Robin, Georgia, Churches. I don't know what Bank. I've not heard of Bank's other songs. I don't know what sort of things she does, but it does really work. It's like eating the perfect donut. You know, it's mass produced, but fuck me, it tastes nice, doesn't it? And so I put down. It's got a thumping chorus, and I've listened to it maybe 20 times, and it still works for me. So yeah, it's ain't anything special, but I think it's a decent collaboration, and yeah, I should probably see what else Jay Wolf does after this. Did you know Banks?
Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned Banks because I feel like I've tried to get into Banks several times and not managed. There's also Ms. Banks, who is someone else. And there's also Boots, all capitals, who collaborates with Run the Jewels a lot. So I always get confused between them all.
So does this sound like Banks songs?
I don't know. I can't
okay.
remember because I feel like every time I've gone, I've been like, oh, this is not for me. But with this song, yeah, the second the vocals kicked in, I was like, oh, Eurovision. Okay, this would be a perfect Eurovision song. And that feeling continued. But this is another one where my mind kept changing at each time I listened to them. And actually, that happened with a lot of your songs. I'd say maybe half of your songs. I had a different opinion by the third listen than I did at the beginning. Because by the second, that chorus, I was like, oh, actually, this is quite a catchy chorus, and it got stuck in my head. And different elements jumped out to me, like the drums and when they come in are really good. I like the violins in the second verse. I like the Daft Punk Tron / Drive soundtrack synths. Well, very much my vibe. So yeah, by the third listen, I was like, yep, I'm on board. And with a Eurovision staging, this song would be perfect. Like, yeah, it's not one that I saved, but it's one I'm happy to listen to again. Like, yeah, I think it is, like you say, a good modern pop song.
I've had so many different pop songs this year, and so many that to me just sound so similar. And I wish someone could reinvent pop music.
Well, I think it's very synthy pop music at the moment, so we need a bit of hip hop or a bit of rock to change it up a bit, or jazz. Who knows, jazz?
Who knows? But yeah, it is becoming a bit obvious. So out of all the obvious pop songs, this is my favorite.
Can I just say, the lyrics sound like they were written by AI. Did you look at them at all?
I've watched the visualizer with the looks underneath it, but nothing stood out. So
well, wait for the truth to sink in, to feel my own skin, whiplash and Polaroids, left to the flip of a coin, dissonance turning your voice into white noise.
Yeah, are we blaming Banks or Jay Wolf?
Given that Jay Wolf is a producer, I'm guessing.
Really?
Is it a Mark Ronson situation? Tell me.
Lauren Maybury is a co-write who's the lead singer of Churches. There we go. Which means she probably did the lyric because she does the lyrics of Churches. So
okay, well then, Lauren,
are we blaming Lauren?
Mate, what is going on? Or is it just like it's a pop? It's not her song; it's a pop song. So whack it into ChatGPT, and there we go.
What's your next pick?
So my best collaboration is Chemical Brothers and Halo Maud with the song Live Again. So this was the song I got the most obsessed with this year. It is number 1 on my 2023 list and number 1 on my all-time favorite, like really, truly obsessed. I don't really know why. I am so annoyed that I saw them live this year and they did not play this song. They have played it live since, which is like, that would have made it even sweeter. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with it. I was trying to analyze it. I think it might be that they have these road traffic like synths, a bit like How Soon Is Now from the Smiths, which is another song I got obsessed with the first time I heard it. But the beginning also sounds quite Daft Punky. It does sound very Chemical Brothers-y. It doesn't feel like a major sound evolution for Chemical Brothers, but I absolutely love it. I think it puts me into a trance, a bit like another Chemical Brothers song, Swoon. I love the percussion. It's simple but addictive. I like Halo Maud, who's a French singer. I like her simple vocals. But I actually do think maybe what makes it is the harmony vocals that come in, because there are all these snatches of singing that come in and out, and it feels very woozy, very again, like putting me into a trance. I'd never seen the music video until yesterday. It's a good one, and what's great is, so basically, to describe it, it's like a Groundhog Day sort of loop. There's this woman who wakes up in a caravan in lots of different locations, always has to switch off the gas, does a little dance, goes back in, falls asleep, same thing happens again. And one of the commenters on YouTube said that actually the video itself is a perfect loop because it starts and ends in the same way. So apparently if you put it on a loop, you can do that and become obsessed with it like I did. What did you think, Fran?
Yeah, I mean, this is very much the Chemical Brothers, I guess, sort of late 90s, early noughties. Although someone's saying on YouTube, the beats keep getting bigger. No, they don't. They get more minimal. Like, this is not the same big beats of like, the late 90s. It's one of the best songs off that album. I think there's a sample. Is it All I Want? Is it real? Keeps going round.
I hadn't.
All I Want.
There was some...
Is it real? All I Want. And yeah, so that you hear that, but that sample with Haley Maud's vocals, I've never heard of her before. Go on Spotify. She isn't that well known because I think all three Chemical Brothers songs are the top three.
I know her from that, but yeah.
But yeah, I love the trust of those things. I love how it builds, it gets louder and falls. I like her chorus is delicious. The middle section has this sort of weird soundscape, lots of weird things fluttering around and sort of like, it's, I mean, the production is amazing, but they've been doing this like nearly 30 years. They know what they're fucking doing. And as soon as I think the Chemical Brothers are diminishing, they come back, and I think, I put down the one with Beck as my favorite song from that album. And they seem to have a good thing going with Beck at the moment.
They do. They're so good at picking guest artists, like when the Q-Tip, for example, such a good guest artist. But what's very surprising is, like, I didn't see anything by the Chemical Brothers on any best of albums, best of songs, and it's like the album is great. The song is great.
It's definitely returned to form. So yeah.
And live, there's, as I talked about it, they're as amazing as ever. Robots, lights, dancers, the full shebang.
So, can you spin the wheel, please?
Spin, spin, spin. Okay, the number one best solo track, Fran.
Okay, so this is a new artist for me, but turns out they've been around for a while. We have CMAT, the Irish singer-songwriter, and I think she has been on a lot of people's list this year, I believe.
Indeed.
Although the album for me was disappointing, because when you hear like the first two songs you hear are amazing, oh wow, this is going to be my album of the year, and then I put the album on and it's kind of a bit like country, a bit folky. It's got a wicked duet with John Grant, but the song I picked is "Stay for Something," which is by far the best song on the album. And I first saw it on Graham Norton's show, and yeah, she's like this weirdo, awesome performer with freaky hair, and yeah, I kind of like that. I love that sort of vibe. But yeah, the back to the song, it's kind of got that perfect double chorus I enjoy. Just when you think that you know the chorus, he then brings up another one and keeps bringing layers. Then at the end, he's belting out these soaring vocals and hits these gorgeous notes, which for some artists may be a bit too squeaky, a bit too high pitched, but for me, she can really push the vocal enough without it being annoying. It's got great guitar sounds, and yeah, I've been listening to it again and again and again, and it's one of my top 10 songs of the year. And it chats about past relationships and were they that bad? Are my friends wrong? Is it okay to lie about playing the guitar? Who knows? But yeah, it's a belter, but sadly the rest of the album doesn't live up to this song. What are your thoughts?
I'd heard so much about CMAT but never listened to her, so I was really glad when you put her on the list. I had an opportunity. I of course have to mention how Charlie XCX was important in her life. Did you read about
no,
this?
No, the only person I know who's celebrities is Alison Spittle hangs out
Yes,
with her.
that's the other person I was thinking of as well. We listen to the same comedy podcast. Yes, we do. So I think she went to see Charlie XCX in a listening session, and Charlie XCX gave her some advice on how she should approach her sound and the music industry. And I think, it worked out. Charlie gave some good advice. So good on Charlie. I wrote, is this your Taurus choice for this year? Because that's what it reminded me of a little bit. Taurus and Sharon Van Etten a little bit as well, because you have like the
Sharon,
country
yes. Yeah.
and the country guitars and the synthy sounds as well. The country made it a bit too twangy for me as a general song, but I did like the bass. I really liked the bass, and I really liked, like you said, how the ending soars. The way that she takes it up.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of country, but yeah, it's when I heard that second vocal come in, when she hits that, I think it goes up again. I'm like, oh, okay, she's good.
She's good. And I saw the Graham Norton video that you sent me, but it's strange because until that bit, I think her voice isn't very strong. Like she's almost out of tune, but then she's probably saving it for that bit. So I was really impressed, and I love. She clearly has such charisma. Watching the music video as well of like her in like Marie Antoinette hair and a dress, walking around. I'm guessing Ireland, but it could be England. I love how she's like staring at everyone in the band and interacting with them. She must be very, very fun to watch live. So yeah, I didn't dislike it by the fourth time. By the time I saw the Graham Norton one, I was like, okay, like I can get into this universe, but yeah, it's just not my usual genre of music either.
But what's your pick?
We are not in the country world at all for my pick. My pick is Radical Self-Love by IMX, your favorite voiced man. I'm sorry to foist this on you, but I had to pick this song because it was Chris is back, and gosh, yeah, is he doing well? So I've been listening to IMX pretty much since the beginning, right? I think their first album was like 2006, something like that. And I'm just deeply impressed how, he just continues putting out good music. I think this song has become my favorite of theirs ever. I think it's one of the greatest build-ups in a song. It starts so meek, so mild, such like twinkly piano, and then it becomes so dramatic. His voice is so operatic. I think it's a perfect mix of piano and the synth percussion. I love the way he says mercy. And when looking at the lyrics, I was like, is this song about masturbation? Because he's talking about radical self-love. I don't know, but apparently according to Sound and Shadows, it's meant to be a bit of a call and response. It's an internal dialogue that kind of is meant to reflect the conflict that we have when trying not to hate those who are doing so much harm to us in the wider society we're trying to exist in. Yeah, I can take that analysis. But no, I just, again, I don't know what number it is on my list, but I got very, very obsessed with this song, and the album as a whole is excellent. I'll replace Tirza with Fault Lines by IMX as my top 5 album.
But yeah, this is grandiose electro. I'm sure Muse would be a big supporter of this track.
Of course, yeah.
I like the verse, but it builds to an anticlimax for me. It doesn't have any song underneath it, Babs. I could not play this on an acoustic guitar.
So funny.
It's a lot of sounds, a lot of things happening, but I didn't feel anything underneath it.
But if you don't like his voice,
his voice can be white, and at the end he does some. When I was talking about high pitches, I was on about CMAT. This is a person who doesn't for me hit when he goes high. God. It doesn't work for me.
I was prepared for this, but it still hurts.
Yeah. If you've heard the IMX, and then I've got a new colleague at work who I get on with quite a lot, and she's a massive fan of IMX.
Really?
And I went, I know them quite well. She goes, oh really? I went, yeah. Don't talk to him about it.
Lisa Lotta, also previous guest, massive IMX fan.
Moving on to the random generator.
So the random generator has picked number 4, which is the best song not in English. I think I know what you're going to go for this one.
Yes, I wanted to do Cha Cha Cha, but we've already spoken about it. So I then had to scroll through my and I had to get out of my top 50 and into my top 100 to go to Sigurlos, who are back. I didn't realize it's the first album in 10 years.
Okay.
I don't know what they've been up to. And the keyboard player who left 10 years ago is back. Is it Carton? So this is Kletor, which I think is a big rock in Iceland.
In Icelandic, it means rock, but this song is in Norwegian.
Yeah. And then to confuse things, when you start to Google translate it.
Yeah, because I think it said that it was rock in Icelandic, but climbing trip in Norwegian.
Okay.
So
what are you doing to us, Chauncey? How many different languages are you going to sing in? Like, what's the link between Norway and Iceland? Denmark has a link to Iceland, so I was like, okay.
Yeah, but they were colonized by them, so it's like fuck Denmark. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I then went to my Norwegian friend when Google Translate invented it as Norwegian, and they translated the lyrics for me.
You can just go to Google Translate as well. I mean, it's good that you have a Norwegian friend.
But a Norwegian. I thought it's used Norwegian, so I get the legit.
The lowdown.
Yeah, it's quite dark, isn't it?
It's very dark.
Yeah, and the fucking music video does not work at all. Have you seen
I
it?
agree. Like it's three different ideas randomly, but like isn't each one is quite interesting, but they don't meld together at all.
It doesn't work with the music. I guess it's got quite dark themes, but yeah, it doesn't. But it does for me. It doesn't work at all. And user cigars have great videos. It's a bit like your sync track. It is kind of just two different themes repeated for 6 minutes maybe, and that's why it didn't make my top 50. But when they are doing the chorus and inverted commas, when you hear Yoncey's angelic vocals and the strings, it is hard to not be affected by how beautiful it is. So I'm a fan of Sigur Rós, but I guess they do only have a couple of sounds really. They haven't released like their pop, or you know how we're on about
their rap album.
Although they said in this they're trying to have more minimal beats, which I don't know if that's a good thing, because sometimes I do like it when they have the rousing, frantic beats in the choruses. So it's a beautiful Sigur Rós song with some rather dark themes and a really odd music video. It's floaty, it's beautiful, it's sparse, but yeah, I don't think that I would listen to it again and again and again, which is why it didn't make my top 50, but it's a beautiful song on a beautiful album. But what are your thoughts?
My thoughts. I will start by saying that our previous guest, George Thurley, made me a Sigur Rós playlist that I still hadn't listened to.
Oh, really?
And I checked, and Cleto was on there, so I was like, okay, good.
Okay.
I can tell him that I've now at least listened to that. Because Sigur Rós are a band, I think I mentioned this before, but I've never knowingly, apart from Hoppy Polla, which is one of those cliche songs that's on the adverts, I've never knowingly heard a Sigur Rós song, because I've always felt that it's anything that's quite atmospheric like that, I'm like, oh, I need to kind of like actually sit down and concentrate for this. So when I first listened to it, I was like, oh, this is much dronier than I thought it would be.
They are quite drony, believe me.
They are quite drony. And I was like, but that's it, Hoppy Polla isn't, right? So I was I did not know this was a sound. And I was listening to it and I was like, oh, I think this is really good. And then I went on Reddit and I was looking at people talking about it, and they were like, you have to listen to this song with headphones. Like, never on a Sigur Rós album have I seen that you've got to listen to it with headphones. And because no, you haven't. Okay, well, this is I would recommend it, because I was listening to it on Spotify, where, especially because I don't have Spotify Premium, I think the sound quality is just bad. I then went to listen to it on Tidal with headphones, and I was like, oh my God, this is actually quite a significantly different listening experience. Like the minute the first wave of drone comes on.
That's him playing the guitar with a bow.
With a bow, yes. Yeah. I found out. I had no idea that was one of their signature things until literally yesterday. I got shivers. I got shivers from it. So I really like, this was, I think, possibly my favorite from your list. Like I really enjoyed it. I wrote that it was like being smothered by the comfiest blanket. And I can imagine that this life is out of this world.
I'm trying to find a live version of it, but sadly, because I heard they're touring again with a 40-piece orchestra, which is when I I saw them 3 times. The first time supporting Radiohead in a hot afternoon, and that was weird to discover them that way. But I then saw them again around the TAC album with the Hoppala with an orchestra, and that was fucking spectacular. Like I had shivers the entire time. I then saw them again, and it's just 4 of them on stage without an orchestra, and it was different, but it still works. I mean, he does have that beautiful voice that he instantly is like, you know, when he hits those notes, you do feel okay. That's quite affecting. But if you like that song, then the album's pretty similar.
But again, going on Reddit, I saw that people were criticizing the album for not having enough variety. As well, they said it's very one note, and a lot of people were saying this was the standout track on the album.
That's my only. I can't remember the album is after TAC with Hoppala. That to me is the best album because it has the variety of sounds. Like there's a song called Festival, which you may have heard because it's used in a lot of films.
I don't know.
If you're a bassist, Festival is 7 minutes. Skip the first 3. It's just him going for 3 minutes, and then the bass.
It is on George's list.
Yes. And then the bass line hits maybe 3 or 4 minutes in. It's spectacular. Yeah, listen to George's playlist on some decent headphones.
for my best song not in English, she's back. It's Rosalia.
Yep.
This is a collaboration with her ex-boyfriend, and now she's with Jeremy Allen White. Of course, I needed to talk about that. But yeah, I've broken one of my rules because I don't like to talk about the same people every year. But I had to have this song on there because it really was one of my favorites. Stat-wise, it is number 3 on my 2023 list and number 6 on my most listened to list. And I love this song, I think, because it's an unexpected mix of genres, because you have those reggaeton drums, the boom, 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 that, you know, Rauw Alejandro is a reggaeton artist, but you have like synths, and I think Pitchfork called it trappy goth sex grime. I'm like, yeah, why not? I really like the way their voices contrast in the songs, because hers is so smooth and his is so rough. And I think the percussion outside of the reggaeton drums does a lot to frame the rest of the instruments. The drums are either very loud or muffled. They go through all the phases. I really like it. It's, again, I'm quoting Pitchfork here, a love song, but the pair trades horny, shouty bars about God and weed and the healing power of the moon. The music video, they're stalking their way through Barcelona with the little vampire teeth. Apparently the bar that they go to is like quite a famous bar that Picasso and Hemingway used to go to. And I really love that Rosalia's top is a blue cross. The color of the Virgin Mary, barely covering her boobs. Love it. What did you think? Troppy goth sex grime?
I'm not a big fan of the production. Yeah, is it just about them saying I have more fun. She has more fun than me on a night out or something? Is that the chorus?
Well, yeah, but I mean, the first lyric is about like my gun, doesn't have insurance or whatever. It's like you are talking about your dick, and apparently it references another Rosalia song called Hentai.
Okay. So I put down the lyrics. The translated lyrics are a bit cringe for me, but I do like I do like the synth line, and I do like how we get some huge thumps or percussion near the end.
Good thumps.
But it's not really my vibe at all.
Mm-hmm.
His vocal delivery is a bit minimal and a bit. I don't know. I've never heard of him. I don't know how big he is.
Huge
Is he really
as a
funny?
reggaeton artist. Yeah.
So it's this is the worst song for me, but that's because I'm a basic English guy and we hate foreign music. So
well, Motomami you were a bit more for, I think, than this from last year.
Yeah. I think that's because also had a decent music video as well.
I was gonna say, is it the sexy ladies on the motorbikes? Now that like a man is there, you're like, ugh.
I wonder why she's so big. Maybe he needs to listen to her other songs.
I think she's so big because, well, number one, she's Spanish speaking and there's a huge Spanish language population. I think it's her genre mixing, because it isn't just like, flamenco and pop. It's like flamenco and fucking everything. And the kitchen sink.
It's an EP, isn't it?
Yes, it is an EP. It's a good EP, but this is the standout track in my opinion.
That's the end of part 1.
Hey, I'm Paula Wiseman and I'm the host of the Divine Comedians podcast. If you're a fan of comedy like me, then I think you might like to check out my Divine Comedians podcast. In the past, we've had some amazing and hilarious guests, including Jack Doherty, Graham Fellows, Arthur Matthews, Charlie Higson, to name but a few, and loads of others. You can listen on Spotify, Acast, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Over underrated.
What's the random generator say?
8. So that is. So the next one is Best New Artist 2023.
Okay, so last year I think I struggled because I remember going down my playlist and I couldn't find any. So at least this year I found someone who's in my top 20 songs of this year. Shocker. I have an Australian artist called Lottie Gallagher with the song Adam. It's got Echo and the Bunnyman guitar vibes. She's got like a beautiful, cool vocal, a little bit like Courtney Barnett, I guess, in delivery. But maybe that's just but her accent isn't as pronounced, I guess. She's got a cool attitude. I think she's only 17, which is sickening.
Whoa!
I think this is her first ever song released. I couldn't find anything else about her. So,
Me neither.
I think when I was putting on my playlist, I think I found one which must be like alternative songs from Australia.
That's where you found the song.
Yeah, and this was one that stood out. So yeah, it's just a random thing, and then it turns out that she's a brand new singer-songwriter, and obviously our podcast is about pushing new artists. It's nothing brand new, but she's young. But if this is her first single, it's a very good starting point, and it's the sort of guitar sound that I enjoy immensely, and I think I'm hoping to discover new songs from Lottie Gallagher. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just went back to listen to it actually because you said Echo and the Bunnyman guitars, and that's not what I got from it at all. But now I see what you mean. I do agree. I like her attitude and her voice. I like the music video as well. But for me, I got the Jack Antonoff The Killers vibes from this, so I wasn't a huge fan. Apart from the breakdown section, when it's just her and the keyboards, when it strips back, I quite enjoy. When the guitars are gone, basically. That's what I enjoy. No. I mean, obviously, I love guitar, but this kind of guitar sound where it's heading towards the melodic, it's heading towards the surf rock. That's not so much my cup of chai. But I would definitely still listen to new songs by her. Like, I would be intrigued to see what direction she goes in. And yeah, like you, I was like, okay, are there other songs by her? And I was like, oh no, seems to be absolutely nothing. So really, brand new shiny artist. And I was curious to see how you discovered her.
I think because of Billie Eilish and Liv Rodrigo, there is a lot of young female artists getting pushed out, which is, I guess, a good thing. And I saw Spectre, and there's another girl called BT, which I think she was 18. So there are a lot of really young singer-songwriters coming out into the music industry.
I think what's also happening as well, like, as a rock fan in the 90s, you just didn't see many women being rock stars or like, or this kind of, let's say between pop and rock. So I think when you don't see it as much, you feel like you can't be it. And I think now that there are a lot more famous female pop stars and rock stars, I think the more and more young women feel that they can be, which is great. So I'm all for that. I'm all for women singing, even if it's songs I don't like so much. Okay, guys. Okay, thanks.
So what's your pick?
This, I struggled so much with this category. Every single artist that I went to look at, even when I thought they were new, they'd released songs in 2022, and I was like, I don't know how strict Fran is going to be, but like I feel like you would be, and fair enough. And so like I went through all these best of lists and all these things, and I was struggling, and then I was like, it's gotta be Planet of the Bass. It's got to be Planet of the Bass.
Oh, that's how it going. Okay.
By Kyle Gordon. I like, honestly, I wasn't going to put the song in my list at all, but let me tell you for why I've put this song in my list. So did you follow the journey of this song about how
I think I must have saw the song on social media sometime during the year, but I didn't even know who the comedian was or anything about it at all, really.
So I first saw a clip of this song. So it was a clip. It wasn't the full song. It was maybe 30 seconds. And it's him, Carl Gordon as DJ Crazy Times, and a woman being Miss Billiana Electronica in a shopping center somewhere in America. And it was a 30-second song with a bit that life, it never die. Women are my... And I was like, well, this is incredible. And then you go and look, well, okay, what is this song? Who's this artist? And you find nothing because he hadn't put the song out yet. Like, he just done this video. Yeah, so it was, and he was like, the song will come out. The song is coming out in like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months' time. And I was like, what the fuck? But in that time, he then put out a different snippet of the song with a different woman playing Miss Billiana Electronica. And he did this one more time, and everyone was like, what's happening with Miss Billiana Electronica? Anyway, by the time the full music video came out, we have the, let's say, original Miss Billiana Electronica, and it turns out that he did that to make fun of the trope that in a lot of Eurodance songs, very often the women who were in the music video weren't the singers, and very often like it would change it up. But I think he even might have pushed back the release of this song because of the hype it was getting. But I was so ready for the video and the song when it came out, and it did not disappoint, because I think it is a perfect music parody of, like, it is 100% parodying all the elements of Eurodance, of like shouty guy and la girly woman. The lyrics are unbelievable, and when you go and look at comments, that people are like, oh yeah, like if you translated Polish literally, it would be kind of, the women are my favorite guy kind of thing. I just enjoy everything. Like, I really enjoy the song, but I enjoy the marketing ploy, the sheer marketing genius of Kyle Gordon to do that, to like tease and tease in a world where like everything is immediate. I was really teased and really like hyped up in a way that I don't think I was with. I think the only other albums that I felt like I was like, oh, I'm really excited. It's the Bobby by Pip Blom and Venom by Wargasm, where it's like, oh, I know it's coming. And I went to listen to the music video again and to read all the YouTube comments of people being like, ah, yes, I remember when I was a rave in Romania in 1990. Oh no, my favorite one that I've got. I remember first hearing this on the radio in 1995 when I was stationed in Germany. I had a 3-day pass and took the train from Frankfurt to Prague to see one of their concerts. After the concert, I was smoking a cigarette outside Cafe Slavia when who should pull up in a black 5 Series Alpina but Miss Biliana herself with a small entourage. She pulled out a cigarette and looked in her purse for a lighter. I offered her a light. She quickly smiled and offered a quick daku as she went on her way, her smoke cloud lingering in the air, mixing with the unmistakable aroma of borscht. Like, full of comments like this of like, oh, it's such a shame that they didn't win in Eurovision 1996. So I will also say as well to kind of best artist is a big claim. He has made a few other parody songs and they're also very good. He's done like a bossa nova one and a country one, and he's going to release a whole album of parody songs. Not yet. So he's still, despite all this, he's still only releasing kind of song by song at a time. So big fan of Carl Gordon.
Because I'm surprised because I didn't know in America if they really knew this genre as much as we do, being Europeans.
I don't think I think some songs filtered through, but not I don't think it was as big. But I think that's why he was so fascinated with it. When he's interviewed about it, he was like, it felt like this kind of hidden secret as an American.
Yeah. So it's hard, isn't it? Because obviously, like, for me, once you've seen the video once, then it's like, and that's the end of the joke for me.
Oh no, I can watch it over and over again.
I'm not a big fan of like Lonely Island. I think they're fine for the first time. When I would never listen to a parody album for fun. I wouldn't put on Weird Al Yankovic or probably
Flight of the Conchords?
Flight of the Conchords. Yeah, again, I like it when it's in the TV show, but I wouldn't ever go and listen to that song out of context. So. But now I know why you put it in, because you're forced, your hands are tied to be forced to choose a song from 2023. So I was thinking, this is interesting.
Everything is done with intent. The fact that she's wearing a top that says, when God created woman, she was only joking, or something like that. The fashion is absolutely the kind of fashion that was in the 90s. I had those exact sunglasses that she's wearing. Wow. And stuff like that. So I appreciate the thought that went into it. Like, it could have been very throwaway, but I think and I mean the whole phone conversation between them. Are you the woman of the night? No. Goodbye. But fair enough, I see. I think because I could never write a parody song in my life, I can listen to parody of like Lonely Island, Flight of the Conchords. Not so into with Al Yankovic. There I feel like the joke once is enough, but with Lonely Island and Flight of the Conchords and Carl Gordon, I'm like, the music is good enough where like the music is catchy and the joke makes me laugh. Like, one of my favorite Lonely Island songs is that I threw it on the floor, and it is a one joke premise of just like he keeps throwing everything on the floor, and it makes me laugh so much every time.
Crazy times indeed. Speaking of crazy times, what crazy track do we have next?
Well, it's good you say that, because the random number generator has gone to number 3, best song in a different genre to what you normally like.
What song have you? Are you in your head? Are you working out what song I've chosen?
Narrowing
it down to what
yes,
I have left.
I think I know which one it is, but let's see if I'm right. Tell me.
So he's back again.
Yeah, there we go. He's we have talked about him so much. I laughed out loud when I saw that Youngblood was on your list.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Youngblood, but twice now he's made it in.
Twice.
Sneaky
Son of Billy Idol. Yeah.
This time he's not alone. He is with Bring Me the Horizons Ollie. The reason I said this is not my genre, because I guess it mixes genres I don't really like I guess dubstep, I guess emo, I guess new metal, and it throws it all in, stirs it around with some addictive syrup, and we have Happier with Youngblood. Yeah, I should really hate it, but when he says I need you more than ever, it does get to me.
You can't hate it.
It does get to me. I mean, I watched the music video and I felt like 7 to 8 years old. It's them in like a Japanese arcade being like really cool. I'm like, yeah, this is not for me at all, is it?
They do sing karaoke though at one point.
Obviously, you have to when you're in Japan. But he says, I'm not broken. I'm just distressed or something. But yeah, I felt broken and distressed after watching the music video. It's a lot of fun. I should hate it, but sadly, I think it's maybe one of my favourite songs of the year. Oh, Youngblood, you annoy me so much.
You've got to go and watch him live. I think you've got to do it
in that audience. Fucking hell.
Oh, I'd come, definitely. I'd be also like one of the oldest there.
I'd have
but
to
it'd be
dye my
great.
hair green and black though so I can fit in.
Put all your best black eyeshadow
Yes.
and eyeliner on as well. Yeah, when I saw this, I was like, for sure, this is going to be the the one in the different genre. So yeah, I wrote your favorite rock star is back. I was not expecting this to be so electronic.
Hmm.
I was when seeing those two artists, I was like, oh, this is going to be in your face, shouty, guitar-y. Because I do enjoy Youngblood has also guested on a BMTH song, Obey, from the
Oh, really?
post-human survival horror album, which I do prefer to this song. But I enjoyed this song. I thought it was quite restrained for them because you have this.
Well, it is for Bring Me the Horizon, I guess. Because they used to be quite
Yeah.
heavy, didn't they?
But even for Youngblood, like he's such a kind of expansive, emotional person. This song is that's why I didn't really like the music video because I'm like, this doesn't match the mood of the lyrics
No.
nor the mood of the song. So, I don't know, instead of going to Japan, go to, I don't know, like Cornwall on a rainy day. I feel like that would be much more the vibe. But anyway, going back to the song, I think the kids shouting hey, it's quite hypnotic. It should be annoying, but it isn't. Same for the repetitive drum beat. By the third listen, I was like, "Yep, this is a good song." And yeah, the lyrics I've written, "If I could tell you how I feel, I know that you're still hurting too. No, I'm not broken. I'm just scared to belong here, scared to be happier." Which I think, yeah, that's a sentiment that I think, you can empathize with. And Youngblood himself says, like, I've been conditioned by myself my whole life to be in pain. When I'm in pain, I work better. The feeling of happiness is scary because you feel it's all about to go wrong. So yeah, despite the video not matching the energy of the song, I enjoyed it too, and I saved it too.
What's the next?
I think you can probably guess which one it is, right? It is a Little Uzi Vert featuring Baby Metal. By the way, Little Uzi Vert pronouns are they them?
Who also has Bring Me the Horizon on their album.
Yep, exactly. As well as System of a Down, as well as Justice and Rick Rubin. The whole
It's a number one album in America, yeah.
like they're absolutely huge. Like
I've never heard.
right, so
That's how cool I am. So
well, the thing is, like, so I feel like, how do I hear about American rap? I have no idea how I hear about it. I think maybe from following certain accounts on Instagram is how I found out. So I will always dip in, whoever it is, Schoolboy Q, Little Uzi Vert, even back in the day, like I will always have a dip, have a listen, save a couple of songs, come back to it when I feel like it. So with Little Uzi Vert, I'd saved a song of theirs called EXO Tour Life, which that sounds a bit more like Young Lean, which is not surprising because Young Lean is also a bit more emo rappy style as is Little Uzi Vert, which is not my genre. But this is something else. I've written this is a drum and bass trap metal nightmare. The first time I listened to it, I was like, what the hell is this? I think I'm having a terrible time. Until the trap part comes in, until the rapping part comes in, it gives you that break from the assault on your senses.
How would you describe trap as a genre?
It mumbled rap lyrics and kind of smoother beats.
Okay.
Yeah. She says, being like, please don't like ask me to do this as a mastermind quiz question. So you have a bit of a break, then the metal drum and bass comes back, but then by the end, when you've had this kind of spooky breakdown with ghosts and people burping, I've written like there's really everything going on. When the metal motif then combines with the trap part, you're like, okay, all right, I think I've got it. Then it ends with a music box. And you're like, what traumatic thing have I just been through? But honestly, when I listen to it, like the more you listen to it, well, for me anyway, I was like, the more I got into it, I was like, this shouldn't work. There's too much going on. It's too many genres that I don't like. Baby Metal are being, their girlish selves. Baby Metal have also featured on the Bring Me the Horizon, the same album that Youngblood was on. I don't always enjoy them, but I think this is absolutely madness, but it works. And I, then went to do a bit more research, and it turns out that it's called Pink Tape because Little Uzi Vert decided to put a pink diamond in their forehead, like a $21 million pink diamond in their forehead. And that's what the video that I sent you is kind of about. They sound a bit insane. And yeah, I think it got ripped out of their forehead at a concert, but then they got it back. Anyway, there isn't a music video for this song, but there is a trailer for this album, which I quite enjoyed, having a video that's a trailer for a whole album. So you have snippets of song, including this one. And it's a whole, basically, I don't know, anime video game style show where a creature rips the diamond out of their head, and then Little Uzi Vert fights some people all in pink to come back. And I really like the aesthetics of the pink, the album cover with the pink American flag. And yeah, looking at the lyrics, it's very simple. They say, I'm not from this earth, I'm from outer space. I landed here just to drop the pink tape. You feel blue, have a pink day. There we go.
Have a pink day.
Have a pink day. Are you having a pink day or a black day of doom when you listen to this song?
Well, I put down, I think I need to be in the right mood.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
I've yet to discover that mood.
Okay, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
I never heard of them before. I put there is a lot going on.
Mhm.
Not great for the hangover. I know, I know Baby Metal, and so obviously when that sweetness came in for the chorus, so that sort of nursery rhyme,
Mhm.
I was like, okay, so it's like, yes, we've got industrial, high octane metal, we've got rap, we've got nursery rhymes. I said, props to Vey for creating this track, because there's not many rappers who would mix all these different genres
Yeah.
and be so successful. It's interesting to listen to, like watching a car crash. I should enjoy it when it's on. Oh, okay,
Yeah, fair enough.
This is happening. There's some stick enjoyment happening here.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. And I wrote that, like, I think it would be quite easy and facetious to say, well, this is a song made by a younger person who spends too much time on SoundCloud and playing video games, because or watching anime. You can hear those influences.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know about any of those things. And also, they're 28. They're not that young anymore. So
they're not that little either,
yeah,
are they,
they're not
really?
that little. They're a normal-sized Uzi Vert. But I mean, with little Uzi Vert, I mean, it's not just, I feel like everything is blurred, because when I went to look at the list of producers or co-writers, so we've got Bring Me the Horizon, Arca, as previously mentioned on Bjork, Rick Rubin, System of a Down, Justice. And I checked out, so System of a Down, they do a cover of Chop Suey. It's called CS. And with Justice, they sample Stress in one of their songs. I think, whereas with Arca, I think she produced one of the songs, or even she might have even co-written one of them. But I think that a lot more American rappers are influenced by rock than you would think, like even from back in the day. But now that it's more, let's say, socially acceptable, this song sounded like nothing else. I feel like, yeah, the in a genre that you don't like is almost inaccurate. It's like a song in a genre that you don't understand.
Okay, so let's hit the random generator.
The random generator, there's only, I think, 3 left, and it has gone to number 10, the best track outside of Europe.
This was quite easy this year. So I went down and thought, what bands have I not spoken about on the podcast? I thought, I don't think I've spoken about Blink-182 before.
Right, okay, I wondered. The best song outside of Europe. Okay.
So, yeah, they've come back again. They came back, I think, when I saw them, maybe 2012 in Bournemouth. And now they've come back after filming that again. But obviously, this is after Mark had beat cancer, and this time Tom's back for good, apparently.
Back from the aliens, yeah.
People are calling this album Enemy of the State Part 2. It does probably have the most consistent Blink songs for a long time. I could have picked maybe 2 or 3 Blink songs. I chose Dance With Me because it's very, very poppy. It's very, very Blink, but it does have that fucking amazing Travis Barker drums on it. It is catchy, and I do love the second half when Mark sings over the top. But yeah, it's not. I mean, you know what Blink-182 is. It's hard for me to try and tell you what Blink is. Basically a straightforward pop punk. It's silly. It starts off with when I teach ranking, I say just enjoy yourself. I mean, they're guys who are nearly 50. Is that cool? I don't know. In the video, they're dressed as Ramones in their video for I Want to Be Sedated. Yes, they're probably too old for that, but it's also fun that he's beaten cancer. They're still talking about ranking. They're still having a good time. What is weird is how they're now playing fucking massive arenas again. I don't know why. Because when I saw them, they played in Bournemouth to like 1,000 people, and now 10 years later, they're now playing at bloody Madison Square Garden.
Millennial nostalgia is, I think, the answer. Yeah.
So I'm happy they're back. I've always kind of had a soft spot for Blink-182, but yeah, it's just a very good pop song. What are your thoughts?
So I hadn't knowingly heard a Blink-182 song since I Miss You, which is an absolute banger. I don't think I've ever listened to a full Blink-182 album, because for me, Blink were a band that was annoyingly big when I was at school. Because I'd moved to Luxembourg by that point, I think, there were obviously English influences in Luxembourg, but the American influences were big, and it just felt like Blink was kind of the music that the stupid boys listened to. It was only later, kind of with a bit of distance, that I appreciated them. And that's maybe why I'm not a huge pop punk fan. And I felt this song was a bit pop punk by numbers. And that actually, I didn't really like Travis's drums. Normally, they're quite elaborate. And here, there was like maybe one or two sections where there's a bit more of a flourish. But here, the bass, I also, Mark often plays a good bass line, but I didn't feel so hit. What I did like was, I like the bit where Mark is singing and Tom is shouting over him. I like that contrast. And I enjoyed the music video parody. I saw that music videos had 6 million views in 2 months, which is crazy. But I think also pop punk as a genre is popular, and there's now also younger people, like the Young Bloods and the Willow Smiths and the Machine Gun Kellys and all of that. And I wrote as well, it's incredible that they're in their late 40s, early 50s and still making energetic, dumb music like this. And the lyrics could have been written about teenage boys. It's like, that girl, prettiest I could lose, my game's shittiest I could be. I've been waiting around to lose, so dumb trying to make believe. You're mine, what are you gonna do? Come here, do you want to dance with me? Like they're at the prom. So that, I mean, but I don't, like with you, I don't mind it. Yes, they are old, but I almost admire it. I almost admire that they have that shtick and they're not letting go.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's basic as fuck, ole, 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 ole,
ole.
Hey, I mean, that's not been done before, but when it started, I'm thinking, I'm quite enjoying it. Sadly, it's a bit like it's a bit like Busted. I know Busted the shit, but somewhere
it hits something, right? It hits a note. Whereas for me, because the note's a bit more negative, like though I did do All the Small Things at karaoke this year, and that was very fun. And doing the time like all the small things, singing it like that is very satisfying.
What's your choice?
My choice, I have so many collaborations on my playlist as well. It was really difficult to see where everything slotted in. But my choice is Lana Del Rey and Tommy Genesis with Peppers. So I think I've mentioned before that I have a bit of a love-hate with Lana Del Rey situation there, because she kind of stands for this doomed Americana female falling for the bad men, and that's just not what inspires me. But I can't deny that she has some good tracks, and what she does perfectly, and hats off to her, is this blend of like her music sounds classic and modern at the same time. And I think by using the sample here of Angelina by Tommy Genesis, who is one of my favorite rappers, I hope we cover her in the future. I deliberately left off a Tommy Genesis song from I think Best of 2021 because I hope that we do it in future. I think it's genius. I think it's one of the best uses of a sample I've ever seen, because it's not just the lyrics, it's also the beat. But I don't know if you've listened to the original Tommy Genesis song, but the beat is
just the chorus. When I read that it's sampled the chorus, I thought let's listen to it.
Quick listen, but it's much harsher, the Tommy Genesis beat. Here it's a little bit softer, which goes with the rest of the songs. But going again on like genres, like what is this genre? Because there is kind of surf rock, but there's this amazing like there are these amazing shimmering layers of synths, a beautiful creeping bass line. I really like how Lana sounds quite mumbled in a lot of it, but also how she sounds quite playful in that bit where she's talking over herself. Wipe out. And Jack Antonoff is on this track playing a lot of different instruments, it seems, which surprised me because I wouldn't have put his fingerprints on this.
He co-produced it, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, I didn't realize. But yeah, Lana Del Rey, again, I always give her albums a listen, and usually I like a couple of songs and save them. But this, I found this addictive, and the fact that the Tommy Genesis sample is repeated over and over again, I enjoyed that. I know that some people don't enjoy that; they think it's used a little bit too much. And yeah, the fact that Peppers of the Red Hot Chili Peppers and the song sounds nothing like that. Yeah, the lyrics. Me and my boyfriend listen to the Chili Peppers. We write hit songs without trying, like all the time. I take off all my clothes, dance naked for the neighbors. I'm like, fuck it, gonna give a show. I open up the blinds. I much prefer this Lana Del Rey to the bad man treats me bad. So yeah, what do you think?
You know, I probably listened to your playlist about looking at who the artist was, and I probably heard it twice without even knowing it's Lana Del Rey.
Really interesting.
Because I'm not really a fan of Lana Del Rey, to be fair. I liked video games years ago. Then I got bored of that, and every time I've tried to listen to,
so maybe one for a future episode, because I do like enough of her songs for a 10-track playlist.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I noticed you played Glastonbury and fucked over them by coming on like an hour late or something.
Yeah, because of her hair. Yeah, she didn't realize how strict it was. She said afterwards. Yeah,
it is more playful. I put down. Yeah, this is far more up tempo and danceable than the songs I've heard by Lana Del Rey. It's a grower, and I think near the end it sort of like changes the gear. It sort of goes up a gear.
Yeah,
and I actually ended up really liking it. At first at first I had never heard of the original, so at first I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I'm not Angelina Jolie shit about. How random's that? And then I found out why. But yeah, I've actually quite enjoyed this actually. So thank you for introducing me to a new side of Miss Del Rey.
I'm glad you like it. I feel like when the phrase shimmering synths is in there, there's a higher chance than usual that you might like it.
See, yeah, I'm a synth boy. I'm a strummy
You're a synth
guitar
boy.
boy. I'm a string boy.
String. I mean that.
Shout out to Cigarettes.
I was gonna say that to me sounded like, I don't know, you like thongs or something like that.
Yes, yeah, big fan. A thong's even a thing anymore. It feels like a 90s
Not as
thing.
much.
No.
In the early noughties, oh my God.
Oh, really?
Yes, I definitely wore thongs as a teenager, and I cannot be bothered to wear them now ever again.
Yeah, for me, it peaked after Cisco. Personally,
I mean, yeah. Who? No one has done it better.
Over underrated.
Okay, so what are we on to the last one?
We're on to the second last one. So so the second last one, number 2, best group.
We are on to the Bombay Bicycle Club, and I will say that this isn't my favorite song off from the album.
Okay.
Because my favorite song from the album, I think you'd fucking hate.
What's it called?
It's called "Diving" with Holly Humberstone.
Okay.
Because it's very acoustic plucking, sickly sweet harmonies in the chorus.
I do want to listen to this whole album, so I will come back to you on that.
And that's the thing about the Bombay Bicycle Club. So when they first brought out their first album, I think 2009, I think I reviewed them. I think I gave it 2 out of 5, saying it's just predictable indie fodder. And I wrote them off. But to be fair, they were like 18 years old. And I think they just won a competition to like play the V Festival. A bit like the Subways. They were one of those like young bands you got. And I think, oh, okay, this is a bit... And then they brought out the second album was complete change. It's a complete acoustic album, which is very strange for your sophomore record. And it had some interesting melodies that I quite liked. And then the third album came out and they changed it again. And the song Shuffle was when I think they first started to use their cut and paste sample. So Jack Stedeman, he has a really interesting way of creating music. So he does it almost like a hip hop producer. So he will spend hours on YouTube just searching for random sounds across the world, and then he'll find like maybe like a jazz song from like 1934, and then hear a melody, and then grab that melody, and then sing over it, and then turn it into a track. So that's why I think they are different to other indie bands, because they aren't just 4 guys in the room strumming guitars. There's quite a lot to it, and he'll create the drums, and then he'll give it to the band, and the band will expand it with real drums. They add bass and guitar to it, and that's why it's quite. I've always thought, they have like some sort of like Bollywood song sometimes. I mean, where are they getting this influence from? And it turns out it's just spending
YouTube,
all night just listening to random songs. That works. So I chose "I Wanna Be Your Only Pet" because I think that they found that guitar riff was a really, really shit guitar sample he found.
All right.
And it sounded so bad that they thought this might be. This works. So they sampled that, and then they added the drums, guitars on top of it. But for me, it's a different side of them, because I think he says for them this is the Beatles' Abbey Road meets Rated R by Queen of the Stone Age.
I don't hear that at all, but okay.
I've not heard Queen of the Stone Age. I know the singers from it, so I thought that you may enjoy this because it's a bit more rhythmic, a bit more riffy, I guess is the word, a bit more raw. So yeah, I think this is not one of the best songs. It's a single. So I don't love this song, but I thought this could be an interesting song for you to listen to hear another side of the Bombay Bicycle Club. But I will say it's my favorite album of the year because each song on it is completely different.
So I love this song. I think you sent me Rural Radio Predicts the Rapture, which I also quite enjoyed, and that's why but I prefer this one. I prefer this one to that.
Well, the other one's more of like a fun 2 minutes experiment, isn't it? This is a proper song, I guess.
A proper song. I said I really like whatever genre this is. I was trying to figure. I was like trip hop indie because I don't know. There is that kind of percussion element, but sample indie. I have no idea what genre this is. But when I saw that Beatles Rated R, I was like, I'm not hearing any of that in there. But you know what? Fair enough. And yeah, I think in the Back for Lashes episode, I'd said, oh, I everything I've heard by Bombay Bicycle Club, I don't like, but that's not true. It turns out I'd saved Always Like This and How Can You Swallow So Much Sleep by them. So I enjoyed it. But I love all of it, but you really get into it when that guitar motif kicks in. And and I'm really glad you sent me the video of them. It's at Jules Holland. Because the drumming is exceptional. Like I much prefer this drumming to the Travis Barker drumming on the
Which is the thing. So he says that when he wrote a song, he sampled the drums himself. So
how?
So,
what's magic?
Sorry for the drummer. Like he said, the drumming was shit on the demo, but I kind of liked it. So that's why I prefer it live, because he adds more than
the drumming is
version.
just constant.
If you've got a drummer that good, why are you fucking sampling his drums?
Yeah, like what? So it really is just sampled. He's not even kind of playing over it, or kind of he's playing along with the sample.
Yeah, he must. I think he says he adds like percussion and cymbals to the loop he got. But yeah, I think on the album it's the loop he's got from YouTube.
I wanted to ask you though, how do you feel about the whispering in the live video? I'm sure you don't enjoy that bit.
Like I said, it's not the favourite song on the album, but I really like when the trumpets and the guitars blend with the main melody. It's the best bit.
And I want to be your only pet. It's quite catchy as well. It doesn't grate. So no, this was one of my favourites on the list.
Well, yeah, give the album a try.
I will do, yep. So my best group, I've got Do It So Good by Wargasm. I could have also put Bang Your Head featuring Fred Durst, but I went for this one, I think because it's one where Milky Way, the bassist, she sings most of it, and it's still catchy, because what I do like about Wargasm is the interplay between them, the male-female vocals, and despite her doing most of it, I think it works really well. It is new metal, it is The Prodigy, it is whatever Bring Me the Horizon were doing on the 2020 album Posthuman Survival Horror, which I really liked. As I think I've mentioned to you, I had saved a couple of songs by them, but I got back into them thanks to your 2021 pick, the Enter Shikari pick with Cody.
Yeah.
They also did a song with them that I really enjoyed, and I was like, have I heard of this band? And then I've just been obsessed with them ever since. Like, I was really looking forward to the release of this album, and it didn't disappoint. They describe the album as heavy, melodic, disgusting, honest, sexy. But I think this is a really catchy song. I like how she mentions Sarah Connor, Ripley, and Madonna. They wear, for such a kind of harder rock band with electronic edges, they wear their pop love on their sleeve. Like she often wears like Britney Spears t-shirts. They've covered something kind of Ooh, and Rockstar by NERD, which is really good. I think I mentioned that before. I also very much empathize with Milky Way, who said that she really wanted to make music from a much younger age, but people didn't want to play with her because she was a girl, which is really shit, given she's probably, I don't know, a good 10 years younger than me, that's still happening. Yeah, I just love the mix of it, and it's really nice to go on YouTube and have lots of people being like, oh, you're basically sounding like The Prodigy, but I really love it. It's like new and nostalgic. People are very positive about them. And I was also pleasantly surprised at the lack of pervy comments, because Milky Way is obviously like just an extremely striking and attractive woman, but the YouTube comments were mostly focused on the music, so hooray for that. But how do you feel about Wargasm? Do you do it so good, or nah as well?
I think this is a band that I need to be in the room for. To me, it's too poisoned by The Prodigy. It's too much like that. And I find it hard to not hear. It's got a decent hook to it, but I think I prefer the verse to the chorus. Apart from, I wish I could be in a band where I just scream the word I.
I do it so good. I do it so good.
I find him a little bit too cringy. It's
cringy, interesting, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm never a fan of guys wearing shades on stage, but
is that why you didn't like DJ Crazy Times?
Yeah, but that's the thing. He's taking the piss out of it, but people still do wear shades on stage.
Also, so did Youngblood and Ollie Sykes in the music video. So yeah,
I'm trying to think. Apart from Bonner, but he's got an excuse to wear shades. But I don't think any artist I like wear shades on stage. That's my caveat for musical artists. Unless they're blind. When you used to go to Camden when you're younger, you ever
I didn't not so much, but I know the vibe. Yes.
There's like these neon green like dance clubs.
Or the shops that have like dance music.
It reminds me of being in one of those, blaring out. It wasn't for me. I have heard some other Wargasm songs I prefer, but again, I think it would be a buzzing thing to see.
I am dying. Like I think a lot of the bands that I've put on here I've seen live. I would love to see Rosalie live. There was an opportunity, but it was too expensive.
So speaking of live, we know what the last pick's going to be. So it is ones we want to hear live. And surprisingly, you didn't put down Orgasm. So
Again,
I chose M83 or M83, who knows, who I have seen live before, but they fucked up. Well, I say they. Anthony Gonzalez, I would know. I'll say who you are. He fucked
Anthony.
up. Anthony. So I went to Can Jim Crawl 2008. And I had just discovered the M83 band. I think they had maybe had 3 albums before. And I went to go and see them. And then he was looking pissed off. And the band were looking like pissed off. And then I went outside. And then he was outside on the phone. And I asked him, what's the problem? And he goes, I've left my hard drive in Paris. But on stage, he had a drum kit, 2 guitars, bass, and 2 keyboards. And I was like, surely you can do some of the album. Like, how much of it is faked? And he goes, all of my sounds, all of my everything is on the hard drive. Obviously, I guess 2008, you couldn't just retransfer it across. So after like 15 minutes of nothing, he then came on, I guess, contractually, and then played some random keyboard noises, not singing, for 10 minutes, and then that was it. So I've probably seen the worst ever M83 gig. So I wanted to see them live, and they brought out their album this year called Fantasy, their first album for a while. I haven't liked anything they've done for maybe 10 years, apart from the soundtrack for the Tom Cruise films. I can't remember, but it's beautiful.
Oblivion?
Yes, that's a ticket. And this is called Earth to Sea. And this song is fucking magnificent. And it's really, really obvious if you know what music I'm into. It's a slow builder. I think it's 6 or 7 minutes, maybe.
Almost 7, yeah.
And at 5 minutes and 20 is when the sweet spot comes in. So you've got to be very patient about it, for how far you've heard it. And then suddenly it builds up to this section when he ends by saying, I fucking love it. And I get tingles. And I've replayed that 20 seconds maybe 100 times this year, just that one section. And I've been online and I've seen him do that section live. And I want to be in the audience to hear that 20 seconds of delicious electronic euphoria. If you know M83, the song isn't going to be a surprise. It sounds just like most of the songs with, arpeggio guitars and lots of beautiful keyboards going in and out, and some like a sample weird sound keeps repeating. But yeah, I just love that 20 seconds. So.
And hopefully some of the rest of the 6.
Yeah. The rest of the song is a 7 out of 10. That 20 seconds is a 9 out of 10. That's so there you go.
Oh my god, you played it 100 times, but it's still only a 9 out of 10. You are a harsh critic.
I mean, is anything perfect? You can always find a fault.
So M83 or M83. So my relationship with him is, he's that guy who did that song Midnight City. How does that song go again? And I had that today. I was like, and I was like, it's the song that like anytime there's a spoof about Made in Chelsea or something like that, that's the song they played. Although it turns out I had saved more songs from is him them, is it a group or just him?
I think it's basically him, but that's what
So I'd saved Wait, Outro, and Oblivion, and I think that one I saved because he's done it with Suzanne Sunfor.
Yeah. But that song from Oblivion is fucking beautiful, and
can't remember what it sounds like, but I saved it at the time. And I saw the creepy album cover everywhere.
There's quite a lot of those album covers.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. And so I saw the album cover, and I didn't realize it was M83.
Mm-hmm.
So before listening to this song, I went to listen to Midnight City, and I was like, okay, so I'm in the zone. I started listening to it, and as soon as the synths came in, I was like, of course, that's why Fran likes the song, like lush synths once again. I think the synths sound so warm. I feel like I'm on a beach sipping cocktails to this song. I also think this is a good soundtrack for going through an aquarium. I don't know why, but I just imagine seeing all the different animals, all the different colors. I was never bored because it feels like he's holding your hand and taking you through a world. It kind of envelops you a little bit. The thing that did annoy me though, is the pitch modulation, that wheel that reminded me a bit of 9 p.m. Till I Come. That is used a little bit too much.
The weird sample sound you keep.
Yeah.
But I guess production wise, it needs something just to be in the background. I think it's just
Yeah,
a bit
but not
too-
that. I would.
Well, maybe when it's live, it will be different. Maybe, you know.
Yeah. So when I listened to it, I was like, "Oh, this is a complex song. Like, I know that I'm going to need several listens to this, listens of this, and I know I'm going to enjoy it more on each listen." And yeah, I've listened to every song on this playlist at least 3 times, and yeah, by the third time, I was enjoying it more. Like I said, I was never bored, but I tried to go and watch it. I tried to find a version of it live. And I don't know if it was because the sound quality was bad or something, but I was not convinced. And I actually stopped because I was like, well, no, it's just kind of ruining the song for me. So
Yeah, but there's people filming it on their phones. That's why I want to hear it properly live.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
Alas.
but yeah, like I was glad to have a synth epic. So thank you.
But so that 20 seconds, you don't remember that 20 seconds?
I mean,
or just
I
when it
went back and
sounds?
listened to it. I do remember, but that's not the highlight for me. Like I like the song as a whole, actually. Like apart from the
But yeah, they're definitely a band that are good for a playlist, I would say. It's got 20 really good songs, but on the album, it can be a little bit samey, a bit like Sigur Rós, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. And ironically, we're with our last song, we're back at the beginning. So the number generator work. Your first pick was Be Your Own Pet. My last pick is Be Your Own Pet. So my favorite song to listen live is Bad Mood Rising. So yeah, we've discussed what we like about them.
So I probably have heard it live then.
Oh yeah, you probably have heard it live. Yeah, lucky you. No, I would love to see them again live actually. I need to add them to my song kick if they're not already there. I picked this song because it's actually fairly straightforward rock and roll, which is not what I know them for. You know, that debut album is not straightforward rock and roll. But I picked it because I would love to sing Bad Mood, I'm in a real bad mood today with a bunch of people around me. And she does go off on the post chorus, which I enjoy. I just think it's a good, let's say, like not pop rock song, but a rock song that is accessible. A song that's made me feel in a similar way as Choices by Amon and the Sniffers, where you're like, okay, this is rock and roll. But yeah, so with this, the reason I picked this song, like I did really enjoy this song. I did listen to this song a lot. I found it very addictive. It's not like it breaks new ground, but it really is. I think it's a good song off a good album, and I would like to see it live.
So my thoughts are, yeah, it's a bloody good song, isn't it? And I wonder why this doesn't mean a single. Maybe because they aren't a singles band. Maybe listen to the album again. Is the album actually good? Because
Yes,
I think I maybe
the album is good.
Is it worth it?
The album is good, but like it's not in my top 5. Is what I would say. Like I've listened to it through a couple of times, but I got really stuck on this song.
Any final thoughts on 2023?
My final thoughts on 2023 are that I've seen the news about how many music venues have closed in the UK and how the music industry is quite indifferent to it. So it's a
shout out to Bath Moles shut down this month.
That's
I saw Paul Draper there and lots of comedy gigs growing up.
Oh, that's I mean the UK's investment in the arts at the moment is a joke. So it's a variation on a theme. You know, yesterday I went to Caroline, which is a record store in the center of Brussels. I hadn't been there in a while. And I was really pleasantly surprised to see that it was really busy. They sell vinyl and CD. I went to see if they had the Jockstrap album because I actually hadn't bought it yet. They didn't have it. I will be going back when I have more Christmas money and more time. But what I really enjoyed about going there was that number one, I picked up a free music magazine that's done by the Wallonian government or something, and I was like, a free music magazine, let's go. And they had this. I find this quite lovely. They'd printed out an A4 spreadsheet of all the staff members' top 10 albums of the year. Once again, the same drum of buy merch, buy records, go and see people live. Those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and apparently buy CDs because they get more money that way in the UK.
Yes, yeah. You told me that.
Yeah, 2023. Yeah, it's sad that more venues are closing down, but I guess it's also to do with rock music not being as popular as well. There isn't many rock bands people want to go see, unfortunately. In the UK, yeah, I've been to quite a few small venues like the Southampton Joiners, which every year seems to have Frank Turner come down to do a charity gig to keep it going.
Yeah.
And I was at the 100 Club last week, and there's another venue that always struggles. And yeah, hopefully the music. I don't know what's going to happen.
Hopefully there's a government change and things will improve.
Well, yeah, well, people are saying, like O2, who sponsors some of the biggest venues in the UK, like they're saying, like, can they not do something about it? Because there's going to be no new bands to play these big venues because your first gig can't be 12,000 people. You've got to start somewhere.
This is it, and that's so not what's happening in Belgium. That's the thing. Like, no music venues, as far as I'm aware, have closed. I don't know. I don't know if they're thriving in the same way or not, but definitely artists will get much more government support here than they do in the UK. And I've been to small venues, I've been to bigger venues. Politicians, policymakers, listen to this is for you. See you.
Bye.
There we have it. Do you agree with our choices? Do you think we've missed out some big names? Do you think there was not enough Taylor Swift, too much Taylor Swift? Right in. Fran, you mentioned a surprise announcement. What is it going to be?
Well, that announcement is that we have Blue Sky as our social and Threads.
And Threads. And am I doing anything on the moment? Not really.
Well, I mean, I looked into Threads maybe last August and barely looked back. I don't know if it's...
Well, it's only just arrived in the EU,
Okay.
right? So
Buzz?
that's the issue. There was a buzz. There's a lot of... This is quite boring, possibly, but you can tell me or cut it out. A lot of EU policy people really want it to work because Twitter is quite important in the EU policy world. It's one of the few places that you can kind of reach the policymakers. So they're betting a lot on it, but I don't know if it's going to work. So... tell us your preferred social media network for following us. Is it Blue Sky? Is it Threads? Is it Twitter, where we're OU Music Pod? Is it Instagram, where we're Over Underrated Music Pod?
And give us an email, because when's the last time we had an email?
Oh, well, we've had an email to sort of guest for one of our episodes this season.
Oh, true. Yes. So the email is still working.
It's still working.
Waiting.
I check it more frequently now since that email. So write in overunderatedmusicpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you want to guest on a podcast, you can give us an email and we will consider.
We will consider, but it will be considered.
Have a great year if you're listening to this in 2023. If you're not, have a fantastic 2024. Keep listening to the podcast, keep supporting live music, and listen to Bombay Buzzword Club.
Fair enough. I can co-sign for that one.